Sometimes we forget why we're here. It's easy to fall off track. These help us remember.
These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Growing up, I had a dream, something no one else could see. Tell me what it means when your faith is falling beneath your knees and you can't breathe. Everything you see reminds you of what you're not or something you won't be. You gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business. Not because they wanna do it, just because they heard it pays. And who the fuck wants to be poor knowing that's how we've been raised? Society is getting heavy. I can feel the weight, the pressure of success is like 100 million pounds of shame. And that's the reason I'm staying up late, trying to find a way to escape the stereotypes this day and age is making me feel like the only way I'll be happy is getting signed to a label and making money through rapping. I wanna share my emotion because this world is attacking the very principle of life that lets the people be happy. If you don't have a reason to breathe, why even live? These battle scars are impressions of everything that it is.
Don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Now, if I had a voice that reached 100 million people, I'd tell them there's a reason that we're all created equal. Cause some decide to be great and some decide a sequel to an average person's life is simply what they want to be. So you make your decision, all I know is what I'm given. Won't define the life I lead or the way I dwell in existence. I've seen a greater image on the walls of where I'm living, and the words twisted and scripted remind me of something written. Faith is a gift that is given down to the people. If one believes it, one receives it. It's given if it is needed. Don't ever think you're trapped in a life that you never wanted. Your options are infinite, that's some mathematical logic. I'm not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers and these battle scars on my church. Not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers, these battle scars on my church.
Don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Well, hello everyone, and I hope I have sound. I hope everything is cool. You know, it's been a crazy week. I normally try to broadcast a couple times a week, and I hadn't been because I had actually been very, very sick. But it wasn't the COVID. Just so that you know, I actually did go and get tested for it because I wanted to be sure, obviously. But no, it wasn't that. Just did not feel well for quite a bit of time. So when I came down here to my studio, I forgot I had torn things up. So I was a few minutes late because I was scrambling. Whatever. So today's kind of a short show, on the fly type thing. And hello, Julian, I see you there, so that means you can hear me, which is wonderful. So this is the bonus episode for September 72. Got a little bit of follow-up, yeah, and something really cool to show you guys. I don't have it all loaded up ahead of time, so there's going to be a little bit of me getting things up on the screen because, again, I was running late. So while I'm at it, let's get something up on the screen, shall we? So you're going to have a little bit of patience with me. So I know there's a blank screen. I will get something up here in a minute. I am going to put all this in post-production. I will edit this part out. Why isn't that working? Oh, because I am such a dummy. You know what I do? Let me go back to the screen. it broadcasts my desktop, and then I try to edit from the screen, if that makes any sense. So why is it doing this? Are you guys seeing my desktop? Because I'm not seeing it, and I can't tell if it's on the screen, so someone will need to let me know. Yeah, I think it was. Whew, man, I am having a hell of a day. Let's try this again, shall we? So, what I am looking for is the issue of LP News to put up here for you guys. I am sorry I'm a hot mess. What the hell am I doing? So while I'm doing this, how the hell are you guys? What have you been doing for the week that I haven't been around? I have to tell you, I have got so many shows that I have to do now because I had been planning on them. And of course, I hadn't been here. So, okay, we got that up. That was one thing I wanted to get up. Now my camera, yay, let's put me in the little black box. There we go. One way or another, as Blondie would say, I'm gonna get you, right? Whew. Show assets. Let's pull up the LP News. There we go. Let me get that in the screen. And let's get that a little smaller. Okay, here we go. All right. Now, there were some things I said I was going to follow up on from last show. And I want to let you know what I found out. Oh, and Julian's been supporting the Newsom recall. Good for you. Okay, here on the first page, second paragraph, it mentioned that Dr. Hospers had an interview on National Educational Television Network. I went and looked for that everywhere. I couldn't find it. But one thing I learned is that National Education Television Network was the predecessor to PBS. Didn't know that. But I did find a couple other things. Okay, down at the bottom, there has to be something in this program that'll let me put my mouse pointer up there because I'm trying to point at something. So in that first column down at the bottom, it talks about coverage, and it said basically that they got shitty coverage from the Boston Globe. It said, in general, reportage was fair, the only conspicuous exception being that of the Boston Globe, widely known as the most ultra-liberal paper in the country. Well, I have a subscription to newspapers.com, and I knew the date. At least I knew it was September 72. So I went to look for this Boston Globe article. And I believe I found it. I gotta pull this up. Is this it? And I found a couple by the same author. So let me pull up this. Let me hide LP News here for a second. And let me pull this over. Whoops. Hide. Why isn't it showing? I got to move it up, I think. Here we go. All right. So this is what I found. And I believe the date was September 14th, 1972. Boston Globe, Jerry Taylor, yes, Globe staff. And I'm going to read this out to you. And I have to put it up on my screen here to read. I didn't think this was so bad of coverage. So sorry that I'm looking down. I didn't print this out. It says the Libertarian Party's 1972 presidential candidate John Hospers carried his campaign to Boston yesterday, predicting an enormous degree of affluence and prosperity if American government were to shrink to its 18th century functions. Our political platform is that the government should get out of the way and stay out of most of the things it is now in. Hosper said. The candidate, who is chairman of the philosophy department of the University of Southern California, was interviewed during a stopover at Logan Airport. We've been ignored by the national media. They think we're a bunch of crackpots, and nothing has changed. They don't know what we stand for. Hospers, whose running mate is Tony Nathan of Eugene, Oregon, said whose campaign's buttons urge voters to break free from Big Brother, said his administration would limit itself to preserving domestic order and civil rights and maintaining national defense. Doesn't sound so crackpotty to me. It's staggering to think of a government official making decisions affecting thousands of people he doesn't even know, Hosper said. And this was in 1972. We want to return decisions to individuals, to the state of individual rights that was approximated in the early days of our republic. Keep out of the economy and we'll solve most of the economic problems. The standard of living would be unimaginably higher in this country if government didn't hold it down. The Hosper's Nathan ticket, according to its platform principles, advocates, for those of you who keep saying the Libertarian Party does not hold taxation as theft, eat this. Eventual repeal of all taxation has been our position since day one. Facts don't care about your feelings. Okay, which would be replaced by a system of voluntary fees for services rendered. And yes, that a sentence very close to that was put back in to the platform on one of the platforms that I chaired. Hospers, who wore a gray tweed suit, that was almost a tongue twister, with a yellow shirt, black knit tie, and blue socks. What the fuck? Who cares? What color socks he was wearing, Jerry? Jerry, come on. This isn't like Mr. Blackwell's fashion column. Asserted that housing, education, health, unemployment, and other problems had been caused by government and thus would vanish once government withered away. The Libertarians would, among other things, abolish foreign aid, public welfare, minimum wages, government subsidies, including support for education, trust laws, tariffs, and nearly all impediments to free enterprise. Conservative on economic issues, but liberal when it comes to the Bill of Rights, the Libertarians held their first national convention last June in Denver. Having candidates at all was an afterthought, Hospers explained. We thought it would make it more likely that our ideas would be given publicity. The party is on the 1972 ballot in Colorado and has at least a chance of gaining the ballot in Oregon, Washington, and New Hampshire, according to Hospers. He said restrictive laws are keeping the party, several thousand paid members and growing by leaps and bounds, off the ballot in the other 46 states. Hosper's New England schedule consisted of a reception in Hollis, New Hampshire last night and a radio interview in Concord, New Hampshire this morning, his supporters said. And 1 second, asked what would befall the millions of Americans. I lost my spot. Here a second. Asking what would befall the millions of Americans on relief if the Libertarians took the White House, Hospers replied, it would be a gradual process. We wouldn't say tomorrow morning you'd be on your own, but most of these people are where they are because of government tampering. Okay, now, I did not think that was a bad article, and there were no other articles I could find in the Boston Globe. So I am not quite too sure what David Nolan was talking about with that. I mean, did that sound like a bad review to any of you guys? Kind of strange, huh? Now, I found another article, I think, by this same guy. Yeah, and it was carried in another paper. It was carried in Kansas, I believe. Yes, the Kansas City Times. And I think it was the same column, but let's pull it up and see if it's the same column. I'm getting my money's worth out of my newspapers.com subscription. It's just a little shorter, but the same things are in there, including what he was wearing. Why was that important? Am I the only one who finds that bizarre? That even in an abridged version in which they cut out a lot of things, they thought it was still important to keep that he was wearing a gray tweed suit with a yellow shirt, black knit tie, and blue socks. I don't get it. Maybe that was something that was very common then. I don't know. Okay. So, going back here to our LP News. If you go to the second column there, it mentioned that in Boston, the ticket was endorsed by another national organization, the first national organization other than the LP itself, and that was the New Right Coalition with 800 members. I had never heard of them, so I did some research there as well. And let me pull this off, and let me pull up what I found on them. And I believe this was on... Oh, we actually had this on Lpedia. And I didn't know that, but here we go. So, the Lpedia article states, gotta pull that up on my screen too. The New Right Coalition was founded January 71 by 8 disgruntled members of Young Americans for Freedom. And the LP was also funded by disgruntled members of Young Americans for Freedom. And it's interesting they didn't kind of join up. I'm wondering what the differences in belief were, considering that they endorsed the Libertarian candidate. It was based in Boston. Notice how I said that, even though it's funny. Boston, Massachusetts, and especially around Harvard University. It claimed 800 nationwide members by the end of 1972. The group was notable for pursuing a very high level of activism. You want to laugh? I caught myself, but I was reading fast, and I shit you not, I almost said high level of autism. And I'm autistic, I'm allowed to make autism jokes. Its members appeared on talk shows and held several lively demonstrations, but it was most known for placing numerous posters in the Boston area. The posters made statements such as, "Wanted for murder, Karl Marx," "IRS, your money or your life," and a depiction of Richard Nixon and George McGovern both appearing on the socialist ticket for president. I am going to have to Google those posters. Oh my God, I want them. In September 72, the New Right Coalition became the first national organization other than the Libertarian Party itself to endorse John Hospers for president. The group disbanded shortly after the 1972 election. I will let you guys know if I find those posters. Oh my goodness. I like your money or your life. That is great. Okay, so let me see if there's any other tidbits. And hello, David and Solidrio. That's close for me. I did, actually. I have right here. We're going to go back to LP News. We're going to go to the last page. Here's where I'm going to introduce the really cool thing I get to show you guys. Hey, how'd that go on and off? Cut it out. Here we go. Alrighty. So if we go to the last page. Why isn't that moving? There we go. Oh, not the last page. This page. Yes. Okay. Under Pro-Capitalist Bookstore opens. That address there fascinated me. So I wanted to see if this Pro-Capitalist Bookstore was still there. No. And it appears to be a home. So it looks like it was a business operated out of a home. And I could find no record of a bookstore ever being there. So this is still a mystery. It's that address at 4243 Tyler Avenue, El Monte, California. Also, down at the bottom where it says Hosper's portrait being painted, I tried to find this portrait. I did find a portrait of Hosper's, but I don't think it was this one because he looked older in the portrait I saw than he would have been in 72, at least by my judgment. So I still haven't found that. But now for the cool thing I've got to show you. So I was at the Arizona convention, and actually I want to turn off LP News, and I also want to turn off this background so I'll be able to pull the... Ooh, you see two of me. I don't want two of me. Oh, let me turn off the other me. Okay, it's just one of me. So I was sitting at the Arizona convention, and I was given this little package. If you guys remember when we last spoke, on the last page here of LP, I believe it was on the last page. I know it was in here somewhere, or it might have been the issue before. Let's see. Focus on campaign action. Well, I don't see it here, but basically it was talking about campaign material. And interesting. Don't know why, David. Oh, David was telling me about blurry images. So, and you could write in and get a copy of Dr. Hosper's book, Libertarianism, which we're all familiar with, or should be. You could also get a copy of the button, the Hosper's Nathan button, which I did put up on the screen. But here it is in the flesh. Okay. And if you can't see along the top, it says, break free from Big Brother, vote Libertarian. Let me see if I could put this. I don't know if my phone will focus. There you go. And so, and a bumper sticker they said you could get. And that episode, I said, oh my goodness. They described the red, white, and blue, full 12-inch, the giant bumper stickers from ye olden days. And I said, damn, I've never seen the Hosper's Nathan bumper sticker. I wish I could find that. Well, at the Arizona convention, I guess, as I said, I was given this. And I said, I wonder what's in here. And there was a bunch of these buttons. There are, I think, like 12 of them in there. And there was this, which I don't know what this is from. This isn't Gary Johnson. I have no idea what this is. And here's the picture on the back. If someone could let me know who that is. But it's not a libertarian candidate, but, it's one of those old matchbook things, So, well, we've got a bunch of those buttons now. Julian, National might sell them. I don't know. They belong to the National Party. If they belong to me, I would... Lyndon B. Johnson. Okay. I kept thinking Gary Johnson. So yeah, this was in here. If those buttons belong to me, I would give you one, but they belong to the National Party, and because there's multiples, they'll probably use it for fundraising. But what was also in this package is dun dun dun. Do you think fate heard me? Check this out. I was just saying we needed to get one of these. And I'm envisioning this, and it's in very I'm not going to say bad shape. It's actually in excellent shape. But it's very flimsy paper. Like, it's not waterproof paper. You know, that kind of vinyl? This is like paper. So no wonder not many of these survived. But this one, the backing had never been taken off. It had just been folded up and put in this. So I'm envisioning this being put behind glass and hang at national headquarters. I don't think they make like the frames that are, I don't know. I'm going to try to find a frame that was probably supposed to be vertical with multiple things and turn it sideways and like frame this and send it up to national. A scan is going up on Elpedia today because I just got unpacked from Arizona. But I wanted to show you what it looked like on the screen as well. If I did bring that with me, which I think I did, my scan of it. Yeah, let's put this up. Now, isn't that badass? That is like, I can't believe I had just said that we needed this. And within 2 weeks, it came to me. These things just, they find me. So this was definitely a missing piece of history. Somebody just had this in their drawer in Arizona. I am so sorry. I don't know who gave it to me. I was so distracted and like it was handed to me, and I get very, very flustered with my ADHD and all that. So, yeah. So, anyone who was at Arizona who knows who gave me this envelope, please, I would love to send them a thank you note. But on the outside, it says 12 Hospers Nathan's buttons, 1 HN bumper sticker. But it doesn't say anything about the Lyndon B. Johnson matchbook. So I don't know if that's a political collectible. If it is, maybe National can sell it to raise some money. I don't know. But yeah, that will all be going off to National. And I would expect they'll probably use the buttons for some kind of 50th anniversary fundraising is what I expect. Things that we have duplicates of, that is what they tend to do. Okay, so that was the super cool thing. Like, I was so excited. But let's get to the main event now, which is to finish up LP News 1972, Political Perspectives. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Well, let's put this back up. Yep, and let's put me back up and move me back over. Boop, 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 boop. There we go. Okay, Political Perspectives. Right there. Very short Political Perspectives column this time. And I did print this out. Alrighty, so Political Perspective. Let me grab some dew here. I'm still a little bit under the weather if you can't tell. Like, and I didn't even bother to put on any makeup. I'm like, fuck it. Right. Part 7. The lobotomy of the GOP. All right. And this is like an editorial written by David F. Nolan. So all the I's and stuff, that refers to him. 8 years ago, when I was an ardent supporter of Barry Goldwater, I would have found it almost impossible to imagine the hero doing what he did in Miami 6 weeks ago, i.e. standing up in front of millions of Americans and vomiting forth praise for a man who has betrayed everything Goldwater ever claimed to have believed in. I wondered what it was that Goldwater did. Apparently, he spoke at the Republican nominating convention. I could not find a clip of it. There's a lot of clips of that 72 convention. And the Democrats had their convention, I think it was the same month, also in Miami. It was weird. It was in, I don't know if that's what they used to do. And I'm just finding it weird because they don't do that now. But I couldn't find the speech. But yeah, isn't that politics for you? You know, you got to toe the party line. So Nixon betrayed everything Goldwater believed in, but Goldwater still gave him glowing praise because of the party, you know? And that's why I get all creeped out, you know, when people get too, like, worshipy of the Libertarian Party. Don't be that person. I get the heebie-jeebies whenever I hear the capital P, is how I put it when people say party. If I can hear the capital P, all I can think of is communism, you know. Comrade, are you a member of the party? But anyway, yep. Goldwater bummed David Nolan out. And I wanted to add this here. Julian says he was lucky enough to find a McBride bumper sticker on eBay. I've got a bunch, not of any one, but I think I've got, I don't have them here. And when I say I mean the party. I think they're up on Lpedia. I know they were on display at the National Convention in 2018. I think there was like 4 different McBride stickers. I'll have to see if they're up on Lpedia. We'll be getting to McBride soon enough. But yeah, there was multiple versions of McBride stickers. But those were also the long 12-inch ones, right? That's just what bumper stickers were then. Why? I mean, is it because cars were bigger and actually made of metal? Anyway, I don't know why I got off on that tangent. I remember those big, though. Like, my dad loved Cadillac Eldorados. Oh, my God, he loved them. And those were giants. And then after that was Lincoln Continentals. All right. Continuing. Perhaps I was naive. Back in '64, hell, I was only 20 years old. But I still find the GOP's utter acquiescence to the politics of pragmatism almost unbelievable. Huh. Fuck Bill Weld. Nonetheless, in case anyone was still wondering, the robot parade in Miami provided proof positive that the GOP has abandoned even the slightest pretense of standing for any identifiable principles at all. Now the only thing the GOP stands for is Richard Nixon. And Nixon is the ultimate pragmatist, the perfectly immoral man. Or amoral. Is it immoral? I think you could say it either way. Whether this makes him worse than McGovern is a moot point. McGovern, it appears, has some principles. Unfortunately, they're all dead wrong. While Nixon is simply the president, whose campaign is apparently going to be based on 2 facts. 1, that he isn't McGovern, and 2, that he is a capable administrator. Oh my goodness, almost sounds like the Biden thing, right? He's not Trump, and, you know, he's got experience. But, yeah, isn't it funny how nothing really changes? This latter point, of course, is highly debatable. The difference between the 2 men, in effect, is only that between poisoning and suffocation. David, if the dead could hear me, I love you, man. The current state of the GOP should serve as an object lesson to all students of politics, for it shows what happens when one tries to operate in a moral vacuum, allowing one's positions to be determined solely by the canceling out of external forces. One arrives at a floating null point, bobbing on the tides of public opinion like a cork in a dishpan. Left wing minus right equals 0. No, that wasn't wing. Left minus right equals 0. I like that. Left minus right equals 0. Now, quite possibly, having drifted aimlessly to the center of the almost meaningless left-right political spectrum we have in America today, didn't think too much of centrists, did he? The GOP will preempt the Democrats as the majority party, at least for a while, but in doing so, it creates a vacuum, leaving homeless all who seek a party that stands for something more than self-perpetuation. Interesting. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Put that back up here. I wanted to take me off for a second and on mute since I need to sneeze. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, existing just for self-perpetuation, that is always the danger, isn't it? And I find it really interesting that he did not think highly of being viewed as the center. You know that graphic I hate so much that the LP was putting out for a while that kind of depicted us in the center? Yuck. So, yeah, I don't think David Nolan would have seen us that way. We're completely orthogonal to the left-right spectrum. This is the vacuum that we, and we alone, can and will fill. And while the GOP will undoubtedly live on for many years, lurching from election to election like a lobotomized ape, it is, in effect, already dead. David. A zombie, which will continue to function only as long as its existing momentum can propel it down the track. For he who buries his principles buries himself. Damn it, I love that last sentence, man. Woo! For he who buries his principles buries himself. Damn it. That is good. That is a fortune cookie moment there, man. We need to get that up on Elpedia. We have like a rotating banner with sayings. That definitely needs to be one of it. Okay. That is pretty much it. I needed to get back into the swing of things, but I'll leave it up a little bit in case there are any further comments. And let me go here back to full screen here if I can. I do not know what I'm doing today, do I? Fuck it. Let's just keep it on this because I'm obviously incompetent today. I'm still a week away and I forget what I'm doing. So let's just leave it at that. So, yeah. What's coming up next, unless I find some of those posters I was just talking about, will be October 72. But listen to the other episodes I have planned if any of this interests you. And again, comment if you'd like to chat. I'll stay as long as anyone would like. I'm going to be doing more on the People's Party. A lot has gone on with the People's Party. I have got like 50 frickin' clips from the People's Party. Oh my goodness. And as usual, because I've been binging Dave Smith, I have a few clips from his show I would like to talk about. I actually have some from, I'm trying to think of who it was. Well, crap, I can't remember now, but they were just various other clips I did want to discuss from just other YouTubers. And then I'm doing, I call it a takedown. It's not really, I don't like doing takedowns, but I'm going to call this one a takedown because this dude can be so obnoxious sometimes. And the way he handled this was so bad. It's the YouTuber called the Actual Justice Warrior. Had the most shitty take on Brianna. Oh my God, Brianna. Say her name. And I'm like totally having brain burps tonight. I'm so sorry. Still a little sick, as I said. And yeah, I wanna deal with that. And I'm gonna do that one when I'm a lot more clear because that's too important of a subject to be stumbling over any words. And also, I want to explore, I want you guys to think of this. Have you ever heard of something called the Pro-Ana movement? And I've wanted to do something on this for a while. I'm fortunate. I'm not a woman who grew up with all kinds of body image issues. I mean, I had some. Everybody, I think, does, man or woman. But, like, I don't know. You hear all this about bulimia and anorexia and cutting and just all this. I didn't have any of that. I had a lot of other problems, okay? But I didn't have anything in the eating disorder family. So, Pro-Ana is short for pro-anorexia. And it's apparently a whole community, multiple communities of mostly young girls with eating disorders that are encouraging each other to continue. It's like the most bizarre thing. When I first learned of it, at first I thought it was a parody. I couldn't believe this is actually real, but it's actually real and very sad. So I started investigating it, and there is a YouTuber who is very, very obviously anorexic. And there's all kinds of controversy going around about this particular YouTuber. And, you know, YouTube takes so many things down, but allows this content that is obviously pro-Ana content up. You know, and she's influencing young girls and all this sort of thing. I'll get into the backstory on that. But really what I wanted to explore was the libertarian implications of things like pro-Ana. Now, take the minors out of it, because obviously that's a whole different thing when you're dealing with teenage girls. This YouTuber is an adult. I think she's 26. How do we handle things like adults with obvious mental issues that aren't like endangering anyone else? Forget about the potentially influencing other people. It's only really harming themselves. And they won't get help or refuse to see they have a problem, but are otherwise competent. Is this simply a freedom of self-destruction? What are the libertarian options? I like tackling the hard issues. No system is going to be perfect. This could be an area where our answers aren't the greatest. I don't think any answers in situations like that are the greatest. I mean, what do we do today? You can Baker Act people like that, or what's it, 5120, which in fact did happen to this young woman. And it didn't help her at all. She went into treatment for a while, came out, said it was a horrible experience, and immediately relapsed. She lives with her family. What do? You just leave it be at that point? Is it proper to force somebody into treatment in that case? Was the first forcing her into treatment? I don't know. So these are issues I'd like to discuss. And since this lady is already a public figure, and this is already a discussion going on around her, and the YouTuber's name, a lot of you may know her, is Eugenia Cooney. I feel comfortable using that kind of as a case lesson, and not feeling like I'm intruding on anyone's, private life. This is a public figure. It's a very public controversy. But the libertarian implications of it interested me. And I hadn't seen anyone deal with this much. And I started to do a lot of research on mental health and libertarianism, and there isn't really that much on it. There is more on things where somebody is a danger to other people. This is not that. And there's some comments here that I would like to put up on the screen just to maybe tickle the conversation for when we actually do this. It was my initial impulse. I'm agreeing with the commenter, and I'm sorry, I'm so bad at pronouncing Saladriol. That's what I'm going to use. Adults should be allowed to do what they want as long as they don't harm others. That's my initial impulse, but is that as far as we go? We'll be discussing it. And also, you asked, have you read For a New Liberty from Rothbard? Yes, I have. I am a Rothbard fangirl, okay? Totally would consider myself a Rothbardian, though there are some points I sharply disagree with him on. For instance, parents don't have a duty to feed their children. That is disgusting and monstrous, and I absolutely repudiate that, and I wish he had never said that. And in fact, that bothers me enough that I might do a show on it, because I would like to lay forth my argument as to why I think he was very inconsistently wrong on that. And I'm sure there would be a few other points I would disagree with Rothbard on. I can think of another one, which is called, I think, the donut problem, which is, say you own this piece of land and everyone buys the land around you and kind of entraps you, encirclement, I disagree with him on that as well. Maybe we'll get into disagreements with Rothbard, though I am a huge Rothbard fan. All right. Well, that's what I have coming up, at least those two. I think there's a few others that I even forgot. So that's a lot, right? I will probably be doing quite a few Liberty boudoirs to get through like the People's Party stuff. And what I am thinking of doing is like each lunch break, maybe just going live, like not announcing it, just going live, and whoever's around is around and other people could watch it later. Because I don't have like a set lunch hour at work. It's normally around noon Mountain. So that would be 2 Eastern, is it? My work likes me to go at 10 Mountain, but that's like too early for lunch. So, who knows? So maybe if we aim for noon Mountain, on most days, I'll maybe just go live for a little while and start getting through these clips. And yeah, because I like doing the get ready with me stuff, the Liberty Boudoir. Because no, I don't get ready before work. I work from home. I start the day in my pajamas with bedhead looking like hell. All right, everyone, you have an awesome night. I'm glad you put up with me with my technical issues and my not completely sharp mind, because I am getting over an illness, but I super appreciate it. Have an awesome night, and hopefully I'll see you at lunch tomorrow or tomorrow night.
You gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business.